In the midst of a terrifying mission, CIA officer Robert Baer begins to suspect that a kidnap plot is afoot. To ward off any potential attackers, he brings along an assistant clutching a live grenade. But is a life of espionage always one lived on a knife edge? We take a look at the secret world of spies. Thanks to the popularity of franchise stars such as James Bond and Jason Bourne, the undercover realm of spies is one that's never far from our collective imaginations. But with their car chases, elaborate fight scenes, and moments of nail-biting tension, do these movies really give an accurate depiction of life undercover? Thanks largely to the media, we tend to think of spies as exciting and glamorous, living lives that, while dangerous, are certainly never dull. But what of the real agents who spend their days covertly navigating the secret corners of our world? Do their experiences match up, or is the reality disappointingly dull? According to Baer, who used to work as a case officer with the CIA, the real life of a spy can be just as dramatic. Tasked with gathering sensitive information in locations such as Sudan, Morocco, India, and the Middle East, Baer spent decades working undercover in some of the most dangerous places on Earth. Apparently, the main role of a field agent is to gather evidence without being detected. Mainly, this is achieved by striking up friendships with potential targets, dubbed assets. And once the information has been extracted, it's down to the agent to communicate their findings back to the head office. Typically, this involves analyzing the information, writing a report, and encrypting the data so that it cannot be intercepted by the wrong hands. But how do spies go about these activities in foreign countries without being caught? According to Baer, they employ a vast array of tactics to achieve their goals. For Baer, one of these tactics involved maintaining a fictional ordinary life. By giving the appearance of running an office by day, he was able to free up his nights to embark on information-gathering missions, and by socializing with his targets in clubs and bars, he slowly managed to persuade them to open up. Interestingly, some of the tactics employed by real-life spies wouldn't look out of place in a Bond or Bourne movie. For example, disguises were often used to prevent detection by enemy surveillance. You can change your appearance, Baer explained in an interview with Epics for CNN. You can do identity transfer like Mission Impossible, Baer continued, referencing another popular franchise of movies focused on the world of espionage, where you go to a party as one person and leave as another. You can put a whole mask of hair and face over your head. Another tactic mentioned by Baer sounds so far-fetched that it might seem implausible even as a movie plot. Apparently, some agents use a technique called Jack-in-the-Box, in which one passenger secretly gets out of a vehicle. Then, to confuse anyone who might be watching, the remaining operative deploys an inflatable decoy, making it appear as though two people are still traveling in the car. Of course, the life of a spy is not without its risks. On occasion, Baer claims that an agent was stopped and searched while on a mission in Africa. Unfortunately, he was carrying a book filled with information about all his current assets, a mistake that compromised his whole operation. Moreover, agents themselves are seen as considerable assets to enemy powers, making their positions often a precarious one. There are so many operations that have gone bad, but they're classified, Baer explains. There are legions of things that go wrong for no good reason at all. To successfully navigate the world of espionage, spies must exist in a state of constant paranoia. And according to Baer, this involved acting as if he was always being watched. Apparently, the trick is to appear as boring as possible, hoping that any enemy surveillance teams will lose interest. Although the job can be rewarding, it's often thankless too, the most great successes remaining unnoticed by the world at large. And while the benefits may sometimes be small, the difficulties are often great. For example, Baer talks about the problem with maintaining normal relationships while working as a spy. Specifically, Baer mentions the dangers of agents falling into honey traps, incidents in which enemy operatives will use seduction to garner whatever information they can. To avoid this, he explains that all intimate relationships must be approached with an inherent attitude of mistrust. And for agents who are married with families, things aren't exactly a walk in the park. As well as the temptations of drink and sex associated with spending long hours in the underbellies of the world's cities, they must also deal with having to abandon their loved ones for long periods of time. Furthermore, spies working undercover must sacrifice many of the everyday things that most of us take for granted. For example, social media sites such as Facebook and Twitter become an impossibility for anyone wanting to remain below the radar, and even telephone conversations must be kept deliberately uninteresting. Moreover, no matter how long an agent's career, the side effects of a life in espionage could stay with them for the rest of their lives. For example, spending years in a constant state of paranoia can play havoc on an operative's psyche. I think it's more damaging than you could possibly describe, admits Baer. I deal with it every day. Now Baer claims that he does not feel shocked when confronted with violent death. In fact, he even says that he's spoken with Navy SEALs who believe that they've conditioned their amygdala, the part of the brain that deals with emotions, into becoming better equipped to deal with their brutal reality. But despite these challenges, it remains a dream of many to work as a spy. However, it does not seem to be money that motivates them. Instead, Baer believes that a combination of adventures and the chance to help their country is what draws most people to espionage. And with motives like that, it's likely we'll be seeing spies at the box office, as well as in real life, for many years to come.